So we are just starting the session now. Let's let me start. Okay. So today what we are going to cover, we are going to cover the rendering and layouts. Okay. So we'll cover rendering, layouts, and a little bit presentation concepts. Okay. So let me first share my screen, and so that I can start it. We can start. So today we are going to cover the rendering, Sitecore rendering and layouts. So we'll see what the rendering is, what is layout is, what is placeholder is, what is a presentation concept unit is. Okay, so this four concepts like today we are going to cover. Okay. Okay, give me a second. Okay, so let's start. So let me just share my, as I have shared my screen, let me present my presentation. Okay, so let me, okay. Please confirm if my voice is audible. Audible, right? Okay, so let's start it. So today we are going to cover the Sitecore layouts and rendering. So what the Sitecore layouts and rendering is. Okay, so if I say like what is the layout? So layout is just it builds the basic HTML structure of the page. So layout, as you know, in a web page, layout plays an important role. So if you come the right side, I have attached a one screenshot. So you can see you can see this is the complete structure of our page. It can be a complete structure of page. It can be like a header, then it be a content section, then footer, there other components. So which defines the complete structure, complete HTML structure. So that is the layout. Okay, so you can understand whatever is designing the it's making a structure of a page, that can be a layout. Next we'll see the placeholder. What is the placeholder is? Actually I'll show you in the Sitecore dashboard, like where the layout is, where the placeholder is, and how we can define. So that I'm going to show you after this presentation. Okay, so next is placeholder. So what is the placeholder? So placeholder are used in layout to define where the component will dynamically bound, like header, footer, and main section. So placeholder is something that places the component, that places HTML component to in one of the position, in any of the position in the layout. So that is a placeholder is. Okay. So placeholder is defined to attach the component dynamically in the page. Suppose this is the content section. So main is the placeholder. So any component will attach in a main that will render here in this section. Suppose header is a placeholder. Any component will attach in a header will be attached into the in the top. Okay, suppose header link is a header link is a component. So if I'm attaching in the placeholder header, so the header link will appear in the above. So that you can understand placeholder is. Okay, so placeholder is actually position. It place a HTML component somewhere in a layout. So that is the placeholder is. Okay, so how we do in the Sitecore, this is a .NET code. Okay, we place this way like at the rate HTML Sitecore dot placeholder. Then this is a placeholder name. So this I have written in a it's a .NET, yeah, .NET code. Next, what is the rendering is? So rendering can be like a component or anything. Okay, like a HTML component can be a rendering. So suppose if I'm saying like this subcategory, any component and individual component you are saying that is a rendering. Okay, so if I say inside core web page is split into the multiple piece, pieces or block, or each block are rendered presently by different component in the specific purpose and functionality separately. So those can be termed as a rendering. Okay, so suppose one component like a product category, maybe call out, maybe product listing. So that is a component. That component can be a renderings. We can name like a renderings. So any component we place inside the page will be termed as a renderings. Okay, suppose product listing. This is a one component. Is a one list. It's one rendering. Site navigation is one component. Is a one rendering component. Header listing is one rendering component. Okay, their footer link is one, call out is one rendering, newsletter sign up is one rendering. Okay, so if I go to the page and show you what the rendering means, so suppose if I open it, so this you can say like a complete page. So what I can say, okay, this whole component can be a one rendering. This component is one rendering. This component is one rendering, one type of rendering. This whole component is one kind of rendering. Okay, this component is one kind of rendering. So every individual component can be termed as a rendering. Okay, getting right? So next, what kind of rendering we have? Okay, we have, we have controller rendering, we have view rendering, we have JSON rendering, we have atom rendering and more. Okay, so mostly we use, in terms of .NET MVC, we use controller rendering, we use view rendering. Okay, and in terms of, JavaScript or headless services, we use JSON rendering. We can use atom rendering, and there are other type of rendering as well in a Sitecore. Okay, so let's see this. Next thing what we are going to cover is, next thing will be this one. So you are now familiar about what is layouts and what is rendering is now. Okay, so let's go ahead and let's see what is the presentation concept in it. So presentation concepts, let me show you the presentation concepts. Okay, so presentation concepts is, you can understand like in Sitecore, you must understand the presentation concepts. Presentation concepts is that represents a page. Suppose home is a page, home item in a Sitecore is a page, or maybe a home menu you can say, or home page. How, I mean, the component are attached to the one of the page. Okay, so that is the presentation concepts. Because in Sitecore, what we have is we don't have, uh, I mean, the page is built by, composition of many. We add multiple components into one of the atom, and that becomes a complete page. So, okay, and layout in it. So one atom with the layout and, many rendering components that build a presentation. So let's see what's it. So in Sitecore page is very, presentation is very dynamic concept. Each page has its own presentation layer. Okay, so I mean, whatever page we make, each page has its own presentation layer on which, okay, we have a layout, sub layout and rendering components. So every page we make, every page in the Sitecore can have its own layout. Okay, it can have its own sub layout. Okay, I mean, we can change the, dynamically we can change the structure of the page. We can define a multiple layouts based on the requirement. And as I said, like, and it can have multiple rendering components. So in a page we can add as much as component as we require. Okay, a page layer can be configured for a desktop, mobile and other devices. So I mean, presentation for the page we can, define for desktop separately, we can define for mobile separately, and for the other devices as well. So that kind of, option we have. So I'll show you just in a minute after this presentation. Okay, so next thing, when we open the Sitecore page presentation detail, we find two things here: shared layouts and final layouts. So these two things you have to understand. Okay, also. So what the shared layout is? Shared layout, this section stores the rendering that are shared across all the language of the atom. Okay, so shared layout is whatever components and layouts we are defining, those will be, shared across the shared across language version of the atom, every language version of atom. Okay, so I'll maybe in our next session I'll tell you about what is the language version is. Okay, maybe if you're not able to understand now, okay, I'll tell you, but you have to understand shared is something is shared across the all languages. Final layout is this section stores the rendering that are specific to the current language version are editing. So final layout is for the specific language version and atoms. Okay, so final layout section stores the rendering that specific to the current language. Okay, so that is the final layout is. Okay, so we covered the presentation concepts and rendering layouts of the Sitecore. Let's go to like how the presentation looks, how the rendering looks like in a Sitecore dashboard and what we do. Okay. Okay. So let me come up with another system. I'm just stop sharing this. I have shared the screen with another system. So let me know if you guys, if you, any of one are not able to see the screen. Okay. So so this is how Sitecore looks like. Okay. So when you like just log in and you come, so it looks like this. Okay. I mean, so I'll click on the Sitecore this icon and go to the content editor. Okay. So now you can see, right? I mean, this is the content tree as we discussed. This content tree, the right side is content section. Okay, and there is a the menu section we call like a ribbon. Okay, these things you have to understand. Okay, so now what we are going to cover, we are going to cover, we covered the rendering layouts and the presentation concept. So we'll just see that things in a this Sitecore content tree. Okay, so for that, where we have to go in this content tree, we have to go to the layout. So everything about the rendering layout or sub layout or placeholder, so this node layout is responsible for that. So you can say the tooltip is coming. This section contains the information for rendering the website. Okay, so let's go into it. So when I'm going into the, when we expand the layout, so what are the things we see? So we see the layouts, we see the models, we see the placeholder setting, we see the renderings, we see the sub layouts. So not all are used at a time, at a one time. Okay, I'll also only tell you about what you need for the common development practice. Okay, so for the common development practice, you must know about the layouts, which is very important. You must know about the placeholder settings, which is also very important. You must know about the renderings, which is also very important. So these three things you have to know, like layouts. Okay, maybe you must also know about the models, but this is less priority. But still, I'll explain you. Okay, you must know about the layouts. You must know about the placeholder. You must know about the these renderings. Okay. So as I told you, like layout defines the structure of the HTML page or structure of the page. So whatever layout we have to make the layouts, we define the layouts or we write a layout. Uh, we make a layout component or a layout page, you can say. Okay, so that we have to register here. Okay, so in terms of .NET, I mean we make a layout.cshtml. Okay, so if you guys are .NET developer, you know like how the layouts we write in a .NET. We write a layout in a .NET, that is layout dot maybe main layout.chtml or maybe a layout.chtml. Okay, so I mean that we have to write in a Visual Studio. After that, what we do is that CSTML file we register here. So where we have to register, we have to come down here in a project. Okay, there we have to register. So what I can do is I can just right click here like this, and okay, so we are not getting the option. Let me see. So I mean we must get the option like this. Okay, so let me just move it here and I'll tell you. Maybe we can name it like some project name, because we have to always define some project inside it, so that because in Sitecore we can create as much as application or websites. So whatever I mean, if you are developing a custom layout, we have to name it with the project first. I mean we have to develop a project structure. Okay, so what we do is like I created a folder name like demo project. Inside it, when I right click and insert, it will ask me what kind of layout I want to create. I want to create a simple layout. I want to create a JSS layout, or I want to create a MVC layout. Okay, JSS layout is for the for when we are creating a in the front end application or application in JavaScript framework, like maybe Next.js, React, Angular, Vue. Okay, in that case, we need to define a JSS layout. Okay, we need to define a MVC layout when we are developing a project in .NET MVC, Sitecore.NET MVC. Okay, so for now, let's create the MVC layout. So here we have to name it. So what we name is like a main layout. Okay, main layout. The item name will be the main layout. Okay, okay, where we have to create inside the project, then there. Okay, so our layout item is created. So I can see if I create a layout item like this, so there are a few things it will ask. Okay, first of all, do you have to know any item you create in a quick info? You can see the details of the item, like it will create an item ID, it will create item name, it will create item path where this item is created. Let's if I'm saying something like an item, so you have to understand in a Sitecore everything you create, maybe folder or anything, that is called as an item. Maybe this is item, this is item, this is item. Okay, so this is also item. So you can understand in a Sitecore everything is whatever we do or create or we create content, that is an item. So main layout is an item. So what kind of item it is? It is a layout item, you can say. So you can say it's create item ID, it's create item name, it's create item path, and thing. From where this template is created from. So it's creating a template with layout. Okay, it's creating the template from layout. So somewhere already Sitecore has created a layout template from where this item is created. Okay, created no created from who created by admin. So in a quick info, these are the things you are getting. Next thing, important thing you have to mention is, you have to define the the main layout, the path here, because the layout item we are creating, but whatever you create a layout, you have to define the path. So this is the path. This is the path. From where also you where this path we define. Actually, everything the Sitecore we are able to see, these are coming from somewhere a published file. Okay, so this path, you have to define it from a published file. When you develop a layout, you have to publish in a Sitecore. You have to publish in terms of Sitecore.net. You have to publish to the web root file. Okay, from where a Sitecore is loading. So, and when you develop this, the layout, you have to also publish to the web root file, and that path you have to mention here. Okay, support what I do is, let me show you how what I mean the publish route. Okay, so when you go to the anetpub, then www root, then this is the the website, local website we have created for the Sitecore, and these are the its web root files. Is the web root file from where Sitecore is appearing. So these are hosted somewhere in a IS server. Okay, let me show you quickly. Okay, we have already a IS server here. Actually, when you install the Sitecore, it's automatically deploy the websites automatically into the IS server of your system. So this is the website, actual website, it is appearing there. Okay, and it's supporting, like there is a demo identity server.local, there is a demo.dev.local, there is a okay, and when you come the right side, there it's links. You can browse those the links here. So it when you install it, automatically deploy your the Sitecore application into the IS server. From here you can access. Okay, so this is what I not meant to tell you. Just want to tell you what's the web root file from where and the Sitecore is appearing. Okay, and when you develop that CSS the layout CSS file in a .NET, you have to publish into this published file. Then after that, through the IS server, it's loading into the page. Okay, so if you publish, it will come here like this. Okay, in a view, somewhere here it will be your, um, there will be your layout file. Okay, somewhere here will be a layout file. So suppose if I say, when now there is no layout file, so suppose this layout. Okay, these are already defined by the, already given by the Sitecore. So I mean, similarly you can have a, when you develop, you will have a some layout file. So you can just, you have to give the path. So how I can give the path? So you can give the path like this. You have to give the path from view like this, view, then layout, then what is the layout is? Suppose layout is this one, maybe any layout, maybe this one I can copy it, name, and what kind of extension will be CS HTML, because it's a .NET code. So CS HTML. Okay, this is how you have to define the layout. Okay, so like how we are defining the layout in the Sitecore. Now next we'll see, so we are done with the layout, how we defining the layouts. Okay, now we go to the uh, placeholder. So how we can create the placeholder. So inside the placeholder, I mean, when you placeholder setting, you can create, like you have to go to the project, and there you will create a folder name like a placeholder. Sorry, in a project name you will like demo project. Okay. When I right click it, I'll get an option to create a placeholder. So I'll write a placeholder like maybe demo placeholder. For now I'll, okay, so this is the placeholder I defined it. Okay, so in it, what were the things are important, like this placeholder key. So this placeholder key, I mean, is important. This we have to, I mean, mention somewhere in the component, maybe where, uh, I mean, what kind of component, or maybe in a presentation detail, we have to define this component. I mean, where, I mean, what kind of rendering this placeholder we render. So that's in a second field. If you'll see, there is a allow control. So we have to select the renderings here. Okay, so two things important: placeholder key and the allow controls. Okay, so placeholder key, this is the way we are defining. Okay, so next we'll see, uh, next we'll see, you you knew now like how we are creating the placeholder. Next we'll create a rendering. Okay, so for the rendering as well, where what we will do is we'll expand the renderings, then we'll directly come to the projects. Inside the projects, we'll first of all we'll create a project name. For now, rendering project name will be a demo project, because we are creating a demo project. Okay, I created a one folder item. Inside it, I right click and click insert. So I'll see there are a lot of I mean, rendering option I can create. I can create a Excel rendering. I can create a web control. I can create a method rendering. I can create a UL rendering. I can create a JSON rendering. I can create a JavaScript rendering. I can create a control rendering. I can create a item rendering. I can create a view rendering. So for now, I'm going to explain you about controller rendering and view rendering, or maybe adjacent rendering. There are other rendering as well, but mostly maybe you are going to use adjacent rendering, controller rendering, and view rendering. Okay, so let's try to create a controller rendering. How it looks like. Okay, I'll create a demo controller for now. If I create a controller rendering demo controller, so there I'll get an option. I have to define the controller name. I have to assign a the action method. If I have an area, I can define the area. Okay, in a .NET, what happens? A .NET has a MVC structure. So in MVC structure, what happens? Let me tell you the structure. Okay, so let me create a new. In MVC structure, what happens? I mean, we had a controller, we have a controller, we have an action method, we have an action method, we have view. Okay, so in our views, what we can have, we can have a view rendering. View means something it's displaying. Okay, you can understand. So we have a controller, we have action method, a view, we have a view. So this is what we call like a MVC structure. Okay, so I mean, when we create a controller rendering, we have to create, I mean, already we have to, maybe if it is a controller created there, if not, we have to create a new controller. We have to define the action. In the action, we have to define the also define the view. So in action, we write the logic, what kind of item we are going to return into the view. So view is a rendering, you can say. View is the rendering component where, I mean, whatever logic we are writing in an action method that going to present by the view. Okay, so when we are writing a controller rendering, so controller rendering. So we have to, I mean, we have to create a controller, we have to create action method, and based on the action method, we create a view. So for controller rendering, what the two things we have to mention into the Sitecore is, we have to mention the controller, we have to mention the action. So action will, identify the view. So we have to mention two things here in a Sitecore. So we just create we just create a item in the Sitecore. In a Sitecore, what we do? Sitecore for controller rendering. Okay. So in our first block, like a controller, in a controller, what we do? We define the controller name and assembly of the project. Okay. In a first, we have to define this. Second, we have to define the action method. Sorry, where I'm writing. Second, we have to define the action method. So action method will identify the view. So these two things we have to define. So where, let me show you. There we have to define the controller name and assembly. There we have to define the action method, controller action method name. if we have any area, there is a concept of area in the in the .NET. So if you have area, we have to define the area. We can define the placeholder also, but mostly we define dynamic placeholder dynamically into the presentation. So I mean these two things are important: controller and action method for controller. Okay. Similarly, if I'm creating view rendering, what I'll do is gonna view and write view rendering here. So in a view rendering, what I'll say, let me for now like a view rendering. So view rendering, what it's asking me, it's asking me the path. So in a Sitecore, now view rendering is something where I mean we have to write a component or make a component which doesn't have much logic. It doesn't have much logic. We just have to we have to just um, display some content, maybe title, description, and image, that kind of without any logic, just to present or we just to display static content. So in that case we create a view rendering. So in .NET, I mean view rendering, how we create, we just go to the Visual Studio, we create a rendering, okay, and we name it like a view rendering. And when we publish it comes to somewhere here. So it will be somewhere here like a view rendering with some folder. So what we'll do is, I mean maybe we can just copy the name. We have to define it this way. Suppose we write one component like a gallery. So how I'll define, I'll come here, I'll just copy the path from the web root. Okay, I have to define this way, gallery, then this one. This I'm just telling you about like how we do when we are actually creating CS. And if you have some area, we can define the area model. I mean if you write some model properties, we have to define the model properties. Here we have to that if some entities or model properties suppose this view rendering. Okay, next what I can show you, where I mean this model comes, model. So model, I mean there we have option for a model. So in a model, what we do, we just create if I go to the the project. Okay, here yesterday I have already told you what is the foundation, what is the feature, what is the project. Okay, whatever custom we are developing, so we have to register for the assets or that kind of things, we have to define in a project. Okay, in a project I'll right click it and insert. I can see the model. First of all, I mean best practice to create a project name first, like a demo project. Okay, if I here I'll say like a demo entity. So in a demo entity, we have to define the type. So type, what the type we define, type like and the demo entity name plus its assembly, its project assembly. Okay, assembly. Project assembly, or you can just you can copy a namespace, the namespace of the project. Okay, mostly. Um, so that also it's support. I mean generally it's a it will be assembly. Okay, and you can reference the demo. I mean when you are having some entity for the view rendering, then you can attach. So what now for now, suppose the gallery is supporting some models. So if I click here, I go to the project, then I can select the demo entity model properties like this. Okay, so we saw the rendering, how we creating the rendering inside the rendering, how we created the control rendering, view rendering. Okay, similarly we can create here a JSON rendering. If I right click here, I'll get an option to create a JSON rendering. Okay, let me create a JSON rendering and explain you about what's inside the JSON rendering. So inside the JSON rendering, there is a component name. So this component name must be exactly same when we are creating a front end framework, JavaScript framework. This component name must be exactly same. The component we are creating, maybe in a Next.js, maybe a React.js, or maybe in a Vue.js, or maybe Angular. Okay. And other things, we have to define, the data source location. We have to define the template. Okay, so this is how we do. Next thing, we'll see the presentation concepts. Okay, so how presentation concepts works. Okay, so as we saw in the presentation, so in our PowerPoint presentation, what I explained you, like every page in a Sitecore has its own presentation layer. Okay, so suppose demo home is our the page. Okay, demo home is our page. So in a page, this is the page, the demo home page item. So what I can do is, if I have to attach the the layout and its components, so how we do in the Sitecore. Okay, so I click in this the demo home item. In a ribbon, I'll go to the presentation there. I'll click OK. Then after that, I'll go to the details. Okay, then see, I explained you about shared layout and final layout. So you can see there is a shared layout and final layout. So shared layout, it's shared across all the the versions. Okay, every version of the atom. Shared layout is share across every version of the atom. Final layout is specific for the versions. Okay, so let's see. For now, what we'll do is I'll go to the final layout and I can define here. So what I can already this is the layout. You can say it's simple layout. So already simple layout is defined here. So we'll just show like how we can do. So I'll click the edit and we can see here there is a layout. We have a controls. There is a placeholder. Okay, so we can add that way. In a layout, we can add our layout we created. So if I click here, so I can see I can go there, demo, and whatever layout we created, I can add like this. The controls, like the rendering component we created, maybe a JSON rendering, view rendering, and control rendering, I can directly add it with a placeholder we created. So what I can do is I can go click on the add. Okay, it will directly direct me to the renderings. So in the renderings, we created a like a demo project. So I can add a component and placeholder. What I can do is I can add a placeholder. So the what placeholder we added a demo placeholder. So I can write like this, demo placeholder. Demo placeholder. Okay, like this. I can create other view rendering as well. I can write a placeholder here. Okay, so this component attached to this placeholder, demo placeholder. In a placeholder setting, I can add that placeholder name here. So let me, when I click, so it's asking me where you from where I mean this you want to. So I can just select this one. I select this and add OK. Especially the special placeholder name, demo placeholder. Okay, so this placeholder is added now. You can edit this as well. Okay, so you can see now if I am we added one placeholder setting, see in a placeholder. Okay, you can see we have added our layout, we have added our controls here, we have added in a placeholder, we added the placeholder this way. Okay, so in Sitecore every page we can have its own layout, its own presentation details, its own presentation layer. Okay, so it's this is the way I mean dynamically we can configure. And the second thing, like we can configure the same presentation for the default. You can see these are the devices. Suppose if you want to whatever like the layout and these controls we have defined will be only visible for the desktop, so that we can do those kind of rendering component we can attach. If you want uh, some other the component or layout that will be only visible on the mobile, we can define the layout, we can define its controls, we can define its placeholder. If you want with the other device which will show the some layouts, and then it can be happen maybe for the other devices as well, we can define like this. Okay, so this is how I mean Sitecore has a dynamic structure. You can in a page you can create one page, you can define in the page directly. You don't have to once you have to create a component in a code. After that you can play around in this board, like if you want to remove the placeholder, if you want to remove the component, like how I can remove it, I can go there. Suppose I don't want this the this view rendering, this view rendering component, so I can just remove it from here, removed, and okay. So in a page, so this is the demo page. And what the power the Sitecore is giving you, you can define the layout, you can define the whatever component you want to attach. Okay, and where you want to show. So that kind of you can do directly through the dashboard. Okay, so I mean we covered today for today I mean we covered the layout, renderings, presentation concepts. Okay, so do you have guys any questions?
Not on my part. Everything was smooth.